Prepare to experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply, it's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Superhuman Radio. We are going to be talking about your immune system. Everybody's talking about the immune system right now, right? There's lots of discussions about whether the immune system is adaptive and does it convey, even when we talk about the current pandemic, better protection than, say, the immunity that's provided by vaccines. The immune system is fascinating, and there's a component of the immune system that no one talks about, and actually could be why some people respond differently to vaccines and why some people tend to get sick more often. And it's not something you would think about, but magnesium plays a huge role in the efficiency and effectiveness of your immune system, especially IgG, the learned immune system. We're going to get into that in just a little bit with Wade Lightheart. Before we do that, we have to thank our title sponsor, and that is Legendary Foods, makers of the amazing Tasty Pastry. And we give away free Tasty Pastries on this show every single episode. And we get some beautiful emails and pictures that we use so that people can check it out. The Tasty Pastry started out to be a Pop-Tart alternative. It turned into so much more. You will swear you're eating cake when you eat this, but it has less than 1 gram of sugar and 20 grams of high-quality protein. And the kids love them. That's the funny thing. Parents buy them and their kids devour them. You can go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary. Use the code SHR10 if you decide to buy some, save 10% off, to learn more about them. Or just listen during the commercial break for the secret word. We hide a secret word in the commercials every show. All you have to do is type that secret word into an email along with your mailing address and send it to onair@superhumanradio.net, and you will get a package of goodies that you can't believe. This is the kind of stuff that people are getting. Look, they're not only getting tasty pastries, they're getting flavored nut butters, seasoned almonds. They can't believe how much is in this box that Ron Penna graciously sends out to everybody. And I love to use this one all the time. In fact, I met these two girls' father. He watches the show on YouTube. And this is Lucy and Izzy. And they love tasty pastries in the morning for breakfast. And they think they're eating the same junk their friends are. But they're not. So check it out. Again, listen for the commercial break for the secret word. And when you hear it, just write it into an email. Send it to onair@superhumanradio.net. And make sure to include your mailing address so we can send that package out to you. And now, without further delay, my good friend, and this is Wade Lightheart. How you doing, Wade?
Doing great, Carl. Always great to be here. How's things?
Things are good, man. I got an ARX machine.
Oh, yeah? How do you like it?
I really got to tell you. So a lot of people are like, oh, this is stupid. This thing really hits your muscles in a way that you can't hit your muscles. And the amount of force that you have to use is insane. And you feel it when I do rowing movements with it, seated rows, I feel it in the center of my back along my spine where my spinal erector muscles are. I mean, you're pulling so hard and that thing's not moving and you're pulling. And then you have to resist it as it pulls back.
Yeah.
Oh, man, game changer.
Yeah, you got to shut down. The thing is, you got to slow down your frequency when you're hitting that thing, man. It really torques the nervous system.
Yeah, and it does. In 9 minutes, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Exhausted. Like really. I think my plan is just to use it twice a week.
Yeah.
And do my normal workouts at the gym, and all of a sudden my workouts at the gym feel easier compared to that thing.
I'd love to hear what the results are on that. That's a
let's see. You know, I mean, I carry quite a bit of muscle to begin with, but I have a feeling I'm gonna add a lot of muscle using this machine over the next several months, maybe 6 months or so. So this is fascinating. You know, everybody's talking about their immune system nowadays, and it's really good. I'm glad that people finally figured out. Like, pay attention, focus on your immune system. By the way, in all of these discussions, when we talk about the immune system, we're talking about the gut, because that's where your immune system resides. It's not in your liver and your shoulders, in the back of your neck. It's in your gut. So when we talk about the immune system, we're really talking about gut health at the same time. But some fascinating studies were done looking at the role of magnesium in the ability for the immune system to function properly. Talk about it a little bit.
Well, I think there's a couple things. First, there's specific immune response and non-specific immune response. There's a couple categories, and of course, this is one of the big issues with the strategy with the new mRNA vaccine is that it doesn't positively impact the non-specific immune system response, and so that's something that people have to understand, and why they're going to continue to need boosters, because it's only going for the specific viruses mutate, and then they got to get another one and another one and another one. So it's a gravy train and a cash cow for the people who are pumping and promoting it. So some people are onto this. Guys like us are like, wait a minute, you know, whether you believe those things are effective or not effective is irrelevant to the fact, how do we increase our non-specific immune system response, our ability, the adaptive nature, which we have evolved over billions of years, which you cannot do through the program that is being offered by our medical industries. That's a fact.
Right.
This is not anti-vaxxing. It's none of that stuff. It's about recognizing what this new mRNA vaccine does, how it targets the specific stuff, and then what is the challenges of that and the requirements that are going to go onwards and onwards and onwards ad infinitum, because the strategy is somewhat flawed. So people who are onto this, like us, are like, wait a minute. Okay, how do we build our immune systems to the best possible way? And there's a fascinating thing in the athletic world, and that is, athletes, as a general rule, have a better immune system than the average population. The second part is when an athlete hits into an overtrained state, in other words, their immune system weakens.
Yes.
And this is what led into the research of, well, what's going on here? Because one of the things that happens when a person is in exhaustion, and whether you're an athlete or not an athlete, exhaustion for an athlete is the same as exhaustion as a person. There's an overload of stimulation to the nervous system, which is fatiguing the body and impacting all of the immune response mechanisms inside the body. And one of the factors that carries vitamins, minerals, is involved in recovery of the nervous system, is involved in the transport of key electrolytes through the muscle tissue, is magnesium. And there is widespread deficiency, which we've talked about on your show before, in North America specifically, because we do not have enough magnesium in our diet, and a lot of people just don't consume enough of it. And so I wanted to set the tone before we get too deep into the gobbledygook of the research. And I would put forth that magnesium, they know now, is involved in over 600 different reactions inside the body. And it acts as a catalyst. It's a carrier, and you need minerals to drive your vitamins to the nervous system. And we've done research. For example, in our research facility, we have a university in Croatia, where if you give the probiotics in your intestinal tract vitamins and minerals, guess what? They produce more antioxidants inside the body that kill off bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
And when you feed magnesium to the good bacteria in your body, they respond positively in that they enhance, and what we've learned is they actually produce all of these other extra chemicals and nutrients that have positive effects on the immune system, positive effects on your neurochemistry, positive effects on your nervous system in general.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're looking at how do we feed our bacteria? How do we feed the front line of our immune system? And I do believe that magnesium is a contributing factor to that for those reasons.
Well, and I would go as far as to say, after reading some of these papers in preparation for today's show, that there are people out there who are getting vaccines in general. And this doesn't necessarily have to be the current pandemic vaccine.
Yeah.
But they don't develop any immunity. We see this in the aged population and the flu vaccine. We see a lot of people that are very old get the vaccine, but they still get the flu. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people out there saying, well, they're getting the flu because the vaccine is giving it to them. But there could be another player here. It's been established by numerous organizations that the population is magnesium deficient, and magnesium deficiency happens in stages. So there's like really, really bad. There's subtleties there. There's some people who are just borderline deficient. And when the person is borderline deficient, IgG suffers. Obviously, when they're very deficient, it suffers as well. But just borderline deficiency, the IgG immune system, which is the learned immune system, the immune system that is learning the new targets that you expose yourself to and going, I got to protect against that. I got to protect against that, which is how vaccines work. The vaccines work through hormesis. You present this molecule, whatever you want to call it, this bad actor, and the immune system gets a chance to beat it up and gets used to it and goes, I know how to handle that now. I just learned how to defeat that opponent. That's IgG. But your IgG immune system is impaired when you don't have enough magnesium. So your immune system can't learn. And so these people are always sick. They always have the sniffles. They always have a cold. They're always fighting something. 99% of the time, these people are just simply magnesium deficient, and that's why their immune system can't do the job.
Yeah, and I would add to that too. I was diving into the research, and what's interesting is if we look at one of the challenges that people who are suffering from the current pandemic are experiencing that's low vitamin D levels. And magnesium plays a key role in vitamin D inside the body, the absorption and uptake of vitamin D. And of course, people aren't getting sunlight, and I think that's the best source of getting your vitamin D. So
yes.
Whether you're taking vitamin D, maybe you're in a northern climate, it's cloudy or rainy culture or whatever it happens to be, taking magnesium, vitamin D, vitamin C, and zinc in combination, I think is a very solid strategy to bolster this. And now the research is starting to show that magnesium may be a key factor. You might be taking zinc, you might be taking vitamin C, you might be taking vitamin D, not getting the results you want. Well, hey, add magnesium. The thing is, this is the other part of biohacking, and I want to be fair to our listeners. I mean, we sell an incredible magnesium product. It's wonderful. It's great.
Wait. It's the best magnesium product in the world, and I'm not just saying that. When you look at the logic behind its development and all of the different forms of magnesium that are in there, there really is no second best magnesium product out there. That's it. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for that. And but I want to also share with our listeners is, hey, you want to be doing all of these things together. Magnesium might be a hole in your game, and we've solved that for you. But this research that now we're getting, the PhDs, the guys in the white coats, if you will, are looking at magnesium in this role of specific and non-specific immune system response. And I believe it's either a catalyst or a carrier. They're trying to establish exactly what that is. But one thing for sure, people that have higher levels of magnesium tend to do better on their immune system. That's the one, the big caveat that you can take away from the whole thing is like, hey, magnesium seems to impact the immune system in a very positive way.
And magnesium plays a huge role in acute allergic reaction. So as a child, I was allergic to chocolate. Could you imagine being a child?
What a terrible, worst allergy ever.
And my mother always knew when I snuck chocolate, because I broke out in what looked like a yellow bruise mark, not a black and blue, but like a yellow.
Was it like a hive or?
No, it was more like a bruise. It looked like a bruise.
Weird.
And it wasn't a bruise because I wasn't being bruised. And so my mother would know when I ate chocolate, because then I would have these. And so, but now I'm starting to think, I wonder if I was magnesium deficient back then, because the IgG immune system, the learned immune system, is dependent on magnesium. And people who go into anaphylactic shock because they have this this allergic reaction to something, peanuts, I'm starting to think that they need to be their blood serum levels, their red blood levels of magnesium should be checked, because there's profound information out there that shows that magnesium deficient people develop acute allergic reactions to things. Oh, I touched this and my skin broke out. I ate that and I started to sneeze and my nose started to run. This may be an early sign of magnesium deficiency.
Well, it's a good theory if we can kind of postulate out there for a second. If you look at people that have nervous system tremors, allergic response, muscle imbalances, sleep insomnia and stuff like that, most of those are related to, or many of those people will find relief when they supplement with magnesium. And an allergic response is a contractile response. The cells of the body contract, and what releases it is magnesium. That's the part that releases the contraction of muscle tissue or cellular tissue. So it only makes sense that if someone is suffering from an imbalance of or not enough magnesium, that they would be more prone to these uncontrolled contractive responses inside the body.
Is there a best way to test your magnesium levels? There's lots of tests out there. What do you think?
I really like the SpectraCell test. So you can go and it's a blood test where they spin your blood. They send it off to a lab in Texas. They spin it, and they do two things. One, they can tell what level is in your tissues, and also how much you're able to absorb, not just for magnesium, just for everything. And when we designed Magnesium Breakthrough, we designed it in particular because I had exhausted my magnesium. I was living out of country and for a period of time, and I was under excessive stress and doing a bunch of things I shouldn't have been doing and working too hard and all that stuff. And when we did the SpectraCell test, it showed that I had magnesium deficiency. And I didn't realize I had magnesium deficiency in B12, because it's not just what's in your blood, it's what your body's able to absorb. And that's why when they spin it, they can tell how well you absorb it as well. So that's why I think there's also a variance between what's RDA of vitamins and mineral recommendations versus what a person might need or effective. And if you do a SpectraCell, let's say you went out today and did a SpectraCell test in the next couple of weeks, you can identify what particular vitamins and minerals you're deficient in. So if magnesium is one of it, you take your Magnesium Breakthrough for say 2-3 months and then retest, and you'll see a difference in the levels. So you can get definitive proof that you have higher levels of magnesium. Most people start to feel the responsiveness inside the body. They feel better. They sleep better. They have more energy. Their workouts go better. They seem to be more resilient to EMF pollution if they're in a high EMF environment. And so, immune system response, of course, is a little bit harder to measure, but I think it's something worth looking into.
Do you think someone who has chronic constipation could assume that magnesium is needed?
Almost always. I would add to that. Usually there's an imbalance in their bacteria cultures and they're poorly hydrated. So they kind of go all hand in hand.
Taylor C raises an interesting comment here. He says that he was told that starting at about 0.5 milligram of magnesium per pound of body weight, I usually get about 1 gram a day, and according to my blood work, that's about right. You feel that that's a fair target to shoot at, a half a milligram per pound of body weight?
I think so. I think that's a reasonable level. If you look at much of the literature, it's between 340 mgs and 500 a day is what usually the dosages are in suggested. I mean, I'm into super physiological dosages. I've noticed great benefits when I went through I took it right up to between 5 and 6 grams, and now I do about 1.5 grams a day. That's what's good for me. So again, going back to your SpectraCell test, you're going to be able to determine if you're able to alleviate deficiencies over, say, a period of 2 or 3 months by supplementing magnesium.
Do you take your magnesium multiple times a day? Do you spread it out?
I do. I take it in divided dosages, and I think that's a superior way to take your vitamins and minerals. I mean, I think, I take 2 in the morning, I take 2 in the afternoon with my afternoon meal, and I take 2 in the evening, and then I also will take some before bed.
That's when I take mine. That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah. And we're actually working on another sleep product with some new specific magnesium inside of that for just for bedtime.
Right.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Did you find anything about that enzyme, that P450 enzyme that I texted you about?
I sent it over to my research team to give me the data, but I haven't talked to them about it because I'm
just curious.
I'm not the research super genius, but I sent it over to the team to say, hey, check this out.
Right. No, good. So Bridget McArcher has a question. She says, I'm interested in the couple specific types of magnesium's role in ridding the body of copper. From what I understand, copper is needed to get rid of excess iron. I'm not sure. So does magnesium play a role in affecting copper absorption and levels in the body?
There's some research that suggests that's true. And I haven't dove into it really well, but it was about funny. She should bring this up because I was looking at this a few months ago about its ability to. It was used. It was an orthomolecular nutrition paper on people with excess copper, and magnesium and a bunch of enzymes were being used. That's how I found into it, because anything that's involved with enzymes or probiotics or magnesium, right. And they were using it, and I can't recall the dosages and stuff. I don't know about the relation of copper and iron. I'm not so sure about that. I do know excess iron can be a real problem for people. I had a client that was injected with iron in the Soviet Union.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, she was getting iron injections, if you can believe that, man. And it took her years to.
It ages you prematurely. Iron ages you prematurely. It makes you more prone to cancer, more prone to organ dysfunction. It's basically your body is absorbing rust, and it causes it causes the worst oxidative stress and the worst inflammation of anything in your body. And Bridget, the best thing to do, I'm assuming you're a young girl, you're probably still menstruating, but go and donate blood once in a while.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. But think of iron oxide. You think of iron and it rusts, right? So our bodies are very much like cars. They're rusting away if you're not providing enough antioxidants. And if you're adding rusting agents, you accelerate the degeneration.
In fact, there's a study that they looked at women who menstruate, women who took birth control pills, and postmenopausal women as it relates to iron accumulation. And iron accumulation was the lowest in the young menstruating women. It was higher in women using birth control, where you had, 6 periods a year as opposed to 12. And it was the highest in postmenopausal women because they're not bleeding regularly anymore. And the solution to all this is just go donate blood once in a while. Do it for the people that are going to get your blood and survive an accident. Do it for them, but it's really good for you, actually. You're really doing it for yourself. I want to mention something right now because this is astonishing. So right now, Bioptimizers has an amazing special. You can buy Magnesium Breakthrough at the lowest prices ever and get $200 worth of free gifts. They started the Black Friday blowout early, and it's running the entire month from November 1st to November 30th. There's a couple ways to get there. You can go to shrnetwork.biz/mag and use code SHR10, or listen to the commercial that's going to run here, and it gives you a different URL that you could also get it. Either way you go, use that SHR10 code, and you'll get $200 worth of free gifts with your order of Magnesium Breakthrough. Keep in mind, these guys don't have to do anything special to get people to buy their magnesium. There is no better magnesium supplement in the world. So don't waste your time. You know, I guess you could buy all these rare forms of magnesium that are in this blend already and mix them up yourself at home if you want to. But why? This comes in capsules. It's ready to go. You just take it. And really, if you do understand the role of magnesium in health and the fact that most of us are probably pretty deficient in magnesium, this is a no-brainer. There's no place else to go but Bioptimizers for this. So we're going to take one quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll pick this up. Please post your questions. We'll be happy to answer them and work them into the show. Stay tuned. You already know that Magnesium Breakthrough is the single best magnesium supplement in the world and quite possibly the most popular right now. So Bioptimizers doesn't have to do anything special to get your business, but they are. Black Friday starts now and runs the entire month of November. They're also giving away over $200 worth of free gifts. Bioptimizers is a legacy advertiser on this show and gives us great support to keep bringing you great content. And now they're rewarding our audience directly. Throughout the entire month of November, go to magbreakthrough.com/SHR and use code SHR10, not only to get a great discount, but to get $200 worth of free gifts as well. And while we all know that Magnesium Breakthrough is the single best magnesium supplement in the world, Bioptimizers stands behind all their products with a full refund up to 1 year after purchase. No questions asked. Go to magbreakthrough.com/SHR and use code SHR10 today. Don't waste another minute. I would easily say that I am the hugest proponent you will ever meet to doing anything that will improve the quality of my sleep. And that's because sleep is linked to just about every metabolic disorder we see in our population today. One of the easiest things you can do to improve the quality of your sleep is to get a pillow that can be shaped into the exact form factor that allows you to get your best night's sleep. And that is MyPillow. I've been sleeping with MyPillow for a few years now, and I can tell you that when I have to travel and stay in hotels, I don't get a good night's sleep because I don't have MyPillow with me. Right now, you can save up to 60% off of everything offered to improve the quality of your sleep at shrnetwork.biz/MyPillow when you use the code SHR. Or you can call toll-free 800-889-4938. And remember to use code SHR to save up to 60% off of everything at their website.
New Mass Pro Synthogen X2 just upped its own legendary game. To distance itself even further from the rest of the pack, Synthogen X2 now has double the key active ingredients. If you've ever wondered what steroid-like recovery feels like, Synthogen X2 delivers. See why others compare it favorably to powerful bodybuilding drugs at synthogen.com. Mass Pro Synthogen. When you train with it, you'll gain with it.
Being superhuman means being conscientious about the choices we make. White Oak Pastures is superhuman when it comes to raising livestock. They're committed to animal welfare, land regeneration, and rural revival. They responsibly manage the entire process from the pasture to your doorstep. High-quality, pasture-raised, great-tasting meat from a farm you can trust. Full nose-to-tail selections. They even have options for your pet. Go to shrnetwork.biz/whiteoak and use the code SUPERHUMAN to save 10% 20% off your entire first order. Every day, there's a new wellness trend. Eat that, do this, avoid those. How do you know where to start or who to trust? Inside Tracker helps you cut through the noise by analyzing your blood, your DNA, your lifestyle, and your fitness tracker to provide you with a science-backed, trackable action plan on how to live, age, and perform better. Personalized, one-size-fits-one recommendations to help you optimize you. For a limited time, Inside Tracker is offering Superhuman Radio listeners 25% off the entire store. Go to shrnetwork.biz/inside tracker, INSIDETRACKER, to save 25% off. Change begins on the inside. Redcon One's new BAR bar is the ultimate soft-baked protein-packed snack bar, powered by peanut butter. Perfect for while on the go to help curb hunger or sneaky sweet tooth cravings. With 20 grams of protein, use as a meal replacement bar or when you're in need of a high-protein snack. Eat a Redcon One bar as a midday snack or for fuel before an intense training session. Go to shrnetwork.biz/Redcon1 and use the code SHR25 and save 25% off these delicious bars today.
Move over, superheroes. This is the Superhuman Channel.
Welcome back to Superhuman Radio. We're talking today with Wade Lightheart. We're talking about the role of magnesium in immune function. There are a lot of people out there. I know several. I always talk to them. They're always sniffling. I've got this, so I'm coming down with that. And none of them, I know for a fact, supplement with magnesium. And if they do, they're taking some multiple vitamin. My friend Brian just asked me today about today's show. He goes, well, I take a multivitamin. I go, yeah, there's not enough magnesium in there. And the truth is, because we don't eat the way our ancestors did. We don't eat the abundance of food. We don't eat the varieties of food. We don't eat things, you can only get so much magnesium and potassium from your diet. Those are two kind of hard to meet the suggested numbers. Magnesium more so, because even the magnesium that's supposed to be in our produce isn't in there because it's not in the soil.
That's right.
It's been robbed from the soil. They add stuff to the soil. They don't add magnesium. It's expensive. They can't afford to add magnesium.
Yeah, for food, for people who are wondering, dark chocolate, avocados, nuts like almond, cashews, Brazils, pumpkin seeds, flax, chia, bananas, greens, tofu, and legumes. Those are your sources of magnesium. And again, many of those foods will be grown outside of North America, which is interesting.
What's the relationship between magnesium and calcium? That's a good one. Are there any supplements that help or hinder when taking with magnesium?
Great question. So magnesium and calcium exist in a 2-to-1 ratio. In fact, magnesium is the control component. And one of the issues inside of North America is that we have high levels of calcium in our diet and low levels of magnesium. And when they're in imbalances, your body will start to dump calcium out of the system. And so there's a lot of evidence now. Of course, people with osteoporosis or osteopenia and stuff, they're like, well, you need more calcium and stuff. Well, that actually exacerbates the condition. It makes it worse. And so you would better off building up your magnesium in order to maintain healthy, strong bones. So that's a misidentification because of people not understanding the relationship between magnesium and calcium. Now, supplements that help or hinder magnesium, enzymes, plain up. There is nothing that will help you absorb the nutrients of your food more than enzymes. I would second hydrochloric acid for people who have low HCl. And third, I would add different types of probiotic, and I would suggest people rotate through their probiotics to see which ones and track their results to see which ones get them the best results.
Talking about, so I just had this discussion this morning. And by the way, that question came from Taylor C, watching live on Facebook. I was just having this conversation this morning about GERD. GERD is really very misunderstood. And the reason I want to bring this up is because you talked about hydrochloric acid. I know people who say when they eat sugary foods, they end up with heartburn. And they can't understand that because everybody thinks that acidic foods cause heartburn, and neither is true. The reality is that heartburn is the result of a neuromuscular failure in the esophageal sphincter that keeps the stuff in your stomach. And generally, as a rule, if you do have GERD, you do need hydrochloric acid. This is really not commonly understood because your doctor is going to give you proton pump inhibitors and things that neutralize the acid and raise the pH of your stomach. When you raise the pH of your stomach, the esophageal sphincter relaxes. It opens up and lets everything in the stomach out. So if you're somebody who gets GERD after eating lots of sugary foods, it's because you have pathogenic microbes too close up in the stomach, in the intestines where they don't belong. And the sugar feeds them, and they're pooping out stuff that is actually a neurotoxin, and it causes the vagus nerve and all associated things that are fueled by the vagus nerve to malfunction. And one of those things is the sphincter in your esophagus. So the best thing you can do is lower the pH in your stomach in between meals. Now, in the beginning, you may notice your GERD is a little worse for a day or two, but give it a little time, because what happens is once the pH drops back down where it belongs, near 1 or lower, then the microbes that are living where they don't belong, that are eating the sugar and pooping out neurotoxins, die from the acid. They can't. That's why they shut off the proton pumps, to make it homey and comfortable for them. They don't like that low pH. They like the high pH. Sugar makes it higher. Other things you do make it higher. So if you are somebody who suffers from GERD, get what's it called? HCl plus, right? That you guys offer?
HCl breakthrough. HCl
breakthrough. And it's got hydrochloric acid in it, and it's got some great enzymes that you could always do with to help break down food that hasn't been digested properly. And use it in between meals. About a half hour after you're done eating or longer, take them then. People are like, well, wait, why would I want to take them then? Because you want to change the pH of the gut when there's no food in it, so that sphincter goes, oh, we need to close up, man. There's acid down there.
Exactly. And, what's fascinating about that is when people do about 3 months of hydrochloric acid, and then they forget to take their hydrochloric acid, they find they don't have any problems, because once you wipe out those pathogenic bacteria, oftentimes your body will restore its natural function. And that's something that I've noticed, that people will take HCl breakthrough for 2-3 months and then they're fine. They don't need it anymore.
Yeah. And interesting, Taylor C says that PPIs, proton pump inhibitors, really mess up magnesium absorption, double whammy, and they mess up a lot of absorption of a lot of nutrients.
Yeah.
So Dean Paulson says, why is 99 milligrams the highest level of potassium you can buy as a supplement? And is the salt potassium that you sprinkle as a salt alternative good? What do you think? I have opinions on this, but go ahead.
Well, it depends the type of salt you're using.
Well, they have that new salt substitute that's half potassium and half sodium chloride.
I'm always wondering about some of the replacement foods. When you start engineering foods, we oftentimes run into problems. As far as 99 milligrams, there are some weird things that I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here. When you are a labeled producer, or you produce supplements, or you got to put a nutritional fact panel or whatever you have to do, you have to, number one, you got to place it within a 2,000 calorie diet, which is recommended by, which almost no one eats 2,000 calories in the United States today. Maybe 2,000 over is the average. They're recommended. But then you're only allowed to put a certain amount of capsules or dosages which they feel are within reason. And there is no addressing of supersaturating the system, no addressing of people with deficiencies. And I get it. I understand that, there is some sense to the regulatory components of that so that you can get some sort of standardization. However, when you get into targeted nutrition, and I think we would both qualify as people who are advocates of targeted nutrition, in other words, addressing the specific needs, whether that's a health lifestyle, whether that's a performance component, or whether that's a deficiency that you need to address, you're going to load up on things. You just load up and solve the problem and get over it. You know what I mean? It's like, that's just reasonable logic. So I think a lot of it has to do with that.
The USDA RDA is arbitrary. Originally, they came up with RDAs, and I'm going to answer the question about potassium here. They originally came up with the RDAs to give you the minimum amount of the vitamin that you need to not develop an acute disease. You could develop a long-term disease, but not acute. Like, for instance, vitamin E. They did vitamin E tests on pregnant rodents, and they kept lowering the vitamin E. They kept lowering the vitamin E in the chow until the pregnant mother reabsorbed the fetus. And then they said, okay, that's the danger zone. So we just need to tick it back up a little bit where she would deliver that baby. And then we'll figure that out for human dosages, and that'll be the RDA for vitamin E. Now think about that. That the dose is just slightly higher than the dose that will destroy you. That makes no sense, but that's the RDA. Right. Now, in the case of potassium in high doses can disrupt your heartbeat, because it's a very important electrolyte in the heart function, in the role of heart function. So the powers that be said 99 milligrams should be the maximum that someone can take, just in case they grab 10 and throw them in their mouth. We don't want them to have heart failure. But in the meantime, doctors can prescribe 6, 7, 8, 1,000 milligrams of potassium to their elderly patients who are very low in potassium. Very low potassium can present hypokalemia, I think it's called. It can present as a stroke. They think the people have a stroke. They do an MRI of the brain. They go, no, I'm not having a stroke. But, oh, look, potassium levels are real, real low. They give the person potassium. They snap out of it. So they ironically have this 99 milligram so you don't hurt yourself, because you're too stupid to take care of yourself. So they don't want you to hurt yourself. I've taken 800 milligrams of potassium with a meal. I always take it with a food so that it doesn't just hit my bloodstream, boom, like that. And I don't want an arrhythmia. I take it with a meal, no problem at all. But that's why it's only 99 milligrams. And I think that it's wise to use these salt substitutes that have both potassium and sodium chloride together, because you are getting a little more potassium and a little less sodium chloride in your meal. I don't think it's a bad thing, personally. Cola Quench, whose two daughters we show with the tasty pastries at the beginning of every show, Lucy and Izzy are his daughters. What zinc would you take with Mag Breakthrough, and when? I'm thinking about how ZMA was marketed back in the day for recovery. And as an aside, is the aspartate form important? Remember ZMA? You remember ZMA?
Yeah, I do. A lot of people loved that product when it came out, and whether it was the zinc or the magnesium, but those are two common deficiencies. So I think that was the benefit right off the bat.
And, wait. And especially in hard training athletes, as you pointed out earlier in the show, stress depletes these minerals.
Yeah. And with zinc in prostate function, as well as the conversion of precursors of testosterone, when you go through your testosterone cycle, if you don't have sufficient amount of zinc, you will convert to estrogen. And so that's really interesting. And so also, for some women, produce too much estrogen, and it can actually reverse that. So it's really, zinc is a very interesting supplement in itself. So I actually take, frankly, I take Bulletproof's zinc In the morning, first thing in the morning, I get the one because he's got zinc with copper, and I think you take zinc with copper, it's effective. And I take
cofactor,
I take one bulletproof zinc, 2 magnesium capsules in the morning in my very first meal. I have my oats and my protein breakthrough, and I take 5 Capex. I take some gluten guardians. I take a bunch of probiotics, leaky gut, and then I take my magnesium. I take my zinc. Take some B12. So I do a whole stack in the morning, and vitamin C. I take all of it all at once, first thing in the morning, and then I go at it, right? So it's great.
Now, Magnesium Breakthrough has 7 different forms of magnesium, the most important forms.
Yes.
What about the aspartate? He's asking. Do you think there's any magic in aspartate as being part of the ZMA?
I think aspartate has a very strong research orientation. So I want to break something into research around that. So when we look at research, not always do the researchers distinguish which magnesium they might be using or any other supplement, like the different bonds that would have. And aspartate was one of the more common ones used. And so I think that's the more likely component of why aspartate was used. I don't know if it was, as big as people might. Sometimes I don't want to talk out of school because I can't say specifically that aspartate is going to be better, but it does seem to play a role in neuromuscular and cardiac functions, and then acid alkaline balance. Aspartate is known for those components. So again, if somebody is suffering from that condition and they're taking that product, maybe it's a little better. But if that's not an issue, then it would see no noticeable effect. And that's why you have to be careful about making claims, and you have to be careful about why something has been advocated in a research study. And so we try to sort that out. That's why we took all the different ones and put them all together and played around with the different components. And we did see it works better if you use multiple angles.
Right. We're going to take one quick commercial break. When we come back, we have another comment about electrolytes, and we'll talk a little bit more about magnesium and the immune system. Stay tuned. We shall return. I would easily say that I am the hugest proponent you will ever meet to doing anything that will improve the quality of my sleep. And that's because sleep is linked to just about every metabolic disorder we see in our population today. One of the easiest things you can do to improve the quality of your sleep is to get a pillow that can be shaped into the exact form factor that allows you to get your best night's sleep. And that is MyPillow. I've been sleeping with MyPillow for a few years now, and I can tell you that when I have to travel and stay in hotels, I don't get a good night's sleep because I don't have MyPillow with me. Right now, you can save up to 60% off of everything offered to improve the quality of your sleep at shrnetwork.biz/mypillow when you use the code SHR. Or you can call toll-free 800-889-4938. And remember to use code SHR to save up to 60% off of everything at their website. Remember those rectangular toaster pastries you used to love when you were a kid? Well, Legendary Foods has just made them better. The new cake-style tasty pastry is like nothing you've ever had before. With 20 grams of high-quality protein and less than 1 gram of sugar, you'll feel like you're cheating, but you're not. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use the code SHR10 to save 10% off your purchase of tasty pastries. Now available in cookies and cream, red velvet cake, birthday cake, blueberry, strawberry, brown sugar cinnamon, and hot fudge sundae. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use code SHR10 today. I want to introduce you to Tau Patch, a heavily researched patented wearable device that provides immediate and long-lasting health benefits. Tau Patch's nanocrystals convert your body heat into light of specific therapeutic frequencies that optimize your central nervous system. The health benefits of Tau Patch include relief from chronic pain, better sleep, increased focus, reduced stress, improved athletic performance, and more. Discover what it can do for you by visiting shrnetwork.biz/Tau Patch. That's TAOPATCH. Use code SHR for your superhuman discount today. Have you been struggling to achieve results in the gym? Trouble sleeping through the night? Overwhelmed with stress or anxiety? Look no further than Infinywell supplements. They have designed products to address specific needs like muscle growth, hormone balance, sleep, and anxiety from the first use. Infinywell helps you live well. Go to shrnetwork.biz/bewell. That's BEWELL and use code SHR20 and start living well today. Is there something interfering with your happiness or ability to achieve your goals? BetterHelp can help. They will assess your needs and match you with a licensed therapist. This is not a self-help or crisis line. It's professional counseling done securely online. They have a broad range of experts and are available worldwide without having to wait in an uncomfortable waiting room. Get the help you need and start living a happier life today. Go to shrnetwork.biz/betterhelp. That's better, HELP, and receive 10% off your first month of counseling when you use the code SHR. You already know that Magnesium Breakthrough is the single best magnesium supplement in the world and quite possibly the most popular right now. So Bioptimizers doesn't have to do anything special to get your business, but they are. Black Friday starts now and runs the entire month of November. They're also giving away over $200 worth of free gifts. Bioptimizers is a legacy advertiser on this show and gives us great support to keep bringing you great content. And now they're rewarding our audience directly. Throughout the entire month of November, go to magbreakthrough.com/SHR and use code SHR10, not only to get a great discount, but to get $200 worth of free gifts as well. And while we all know that Magnesium Breakthrough is the single best magnesium supplement in the world, Bioptimizers stands behind all their products with a full refund up to 1 year after purchase. No questions asked. Go to magbreakthrough.com/SHR and use code SHR10 today. Don't waste another minute.
This is the Superhuman Channel, where we use oxygen for the power of good.
I can hear you. Yeah, I can't. Let me see here. We lost. I can hear your sound. I don't know what happened.
Test.
There we are. There you are.
These things happen. That's why nobody likes to do live radio for this reason.
I love it. I actually love it when things go wrong. I think it's more.
I know.
It's fun.
Well, you know, some of these podcasts, they're just too well edited. They're just too. It's like, you know, with this show, you get what we're talking about. That's it. We're not editing anything out. Oh, we didn't say that right. Let's go back and retape it. That doesn't happen here.
Let alone cancel culture. Now you can't say anything because, you know, everybody's got to put everything. This is what I can't stand about sports now. I don't actually get the opinions of the athletes or the coaches or whatever. Everything goes through this filter of nothingness.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's really sad, but hopefully it'll change. I don't think it's going to stay like this for a long time. I think
it's going to the pendulum's going to swing.
Yeah, I do. I believe that. So Dean Paulson says even electrolyte replacement drinks only have 140 milligrams of potassium. But interestingly enough, you're supposed to get about 4 grams, 3,800 milligrams or 4,000 milligrams a day of potassium. That's really very hard to do because when you look at foods, especially if you're eating a lot of processed foods, they don't have a lot of potassium in them.
No.
Magnesium either.
Well, you know, processed foods let's face it, it's a recipe for death and disease, plain and simple. And I think even if you're nowadays, if you're, you know, on a high quality food diet, you still are going to need to identify which nutrients that you're not absorbing. And I sing the praises of it. Go do a SpectraCell test. I would also look at DNA. You know, epigenetics and DNA testing will allow you to be able to find specifics around your tendencies and deficiencies. And that's really, really important.
You know, it's interesting. We have a sponsor, Inside Tracker does, they take your genetic test, they take your blood work, they do all this point-to-point coordinating, and they give you information. It's fantastic. And I'm actually having my second test done very shortly. When they did my last test, I was using 500 milligrams of testosterone a week, and my testosterone levels were like 4,800 nanograms. And so,
1 second, Carl. They're just beating on my door here for a second. One second.
Yeah.
The wonderful staff
Oh,
here
yeah.
at the hotel. I say, he came in to take my bags. I said, show up at 11 o'clock. It's 5:02, and they're here early, which never happens. So
Right.
kudos to them.
But anyway, yeah, the point I was making was, I don't even know what I was making a point. I was just rattling on here. But the reality is that most people are deficient in magnesium. Most people must supplement with magnesium in order to hit their mark. Yes, you should test with SpectraCell or a similar company like Inside Tracker we have. But in the meantime, if you're somebody who gets the sniffles all the time, you're always on the verge of a cold, you train hard. I mean, I'm training insanely hard right now. I'm doing 2-a-days. I'm 63 years old.
I love it.
Yeah. I'm going out fighting and kicking. And so I need to up my magnesium intake. I just realized with this conversation, I need to start taking it multiple times a day with my meals. And I want my audience to take advantage of this offer. I'm going to put it up one more time. Right now, you can get, so while the code says SHR10, make no mistakes, it's not just 10% off, because depending on what you buy, you get deeper and deeper discounts, number one. But number two, Black Friday blowout for the entire month from Bioptimizers. When you use the code SHR10, you will get $200 worth of free gifts when you make a purchase between November 1st and November 30th. So we're halfway through the month. If you're not taking magnesium, I'm betting you need it, because you're not getting it from your diet. So start taking magnesium and watch what changes about how you feel, your level of stress, especially if you're training a lot. This stuff is legit. It's because it's one of the foundational components of life, electrolytes. And we have to get that one way or the other. And sometimes it requires supplementing. So check that out. Go to shrnetwork.biz/mag, or go to magbreakthrough.com/SHR. I don't care how you get there. Just use the code SHR10 to get your gifts. Great stuff. You know, it's not sexy. Magnesium's not sexy. It's not like androstenedione. It's not like, muscle build. But interestingly enough, Adel Musa, I didn't look at the blog yet, so I don't want to speak exactly, but he showed that magnesium supplementation preserves muscle when you're not training.
Charles Poliquin, who coached gold medalists in 27 different sports, said that magnesium was one of the greatest secrets he had in allowing his Olympic athletes to train hard and recover and not get wiped out from. Yeah. And he was the guy that kind of led us into that discovery. And he had 4 different types of magnesiums that he would use, which all are contained within Magnesium Breakthrough. And when we went beyond what Charles, kind of led in the research and developed our product. And so kudos to him for figuring that out long time ago. And Magnesium Breakthrough we've been in business now since 2004. So we're coming up on 18 years in January.
Right.
Matt and I have been on it. And I can say unequivocally that our magnesium product has gotten more positive testimonials than any single product we've ever produced in company history. And that's amazing. And we've been around a long time, and we've only been producing magnesium for a few years.
Right.
The evidence is overwhelming from what I've seen of people taking that product, that it makes an incredible amount of difference in people's lives. And take it and try it. They got a money back guarantee, money back research. If you don't take this and feel something in your first month, you get your money back.
Right.
I'm pretty confident that you will, though.
And this is good because Katrina Miller, who's a big fan of the show, she said that her heart races because she doesn't think she has enough calcium/magnesium balance.
Magnesium in heart function is well known, well researched, and well utilized by people to it. I would suggest going there. And Katrina, of course, you always want to deal with your medical doctor, but look at an ND that'll do a SpectraCell analysis and see what's going on there.
Yeah.
Chances are the test is going to cost you a few $100, but you're going to get specific as to what the imbalance might be. And then you can address it specifically, save yourself a lot of money and get corrected. It's amazing how many conditions out there can be corrected when you get your nutrition correct.
And she's right. Calcium increases the stroke and force of the heart, and magnesium reduces it, it relaxes it.
That's right.
So you may have an imbalance, but a SpectraCell test will tell you for sure, so you don't have to guess. But in the meantime, grab some magnesium breakthrough and give it a try. Last question, and then we'll get a... Ryan Smith Miller says, looking forward to learning more about magnesium. 2 nights ago, I had a brutal hamstring cramp, and I used magnesium supplement to soothe it. Is that your end? Okay. And it worked in a matter of minutes. Katrina Miller said, my cardiologist says my heart is fine. I need anxiety meds. No, you don't need anxiety meds. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Try the magnesium and then see if that doesn't help your heart. In the meantime, there are lots of other things you could be doing before you take anxiety meds. You need to look at your blood sugar levels. A lot of people have anxiety due to hypoglycemia. There's a lot of things. You don't need anxiety meds. You need to fix the problem. Discover and fix the problem. SpectraCell will help. Wade, thanks for being here today, brother.
Always a slice, Carl.
And also thank you for being a continuing sponsor in 2022. I just want you to know I really appreciate your support. It's people like you that make this show possible. I want to thank you.
And this show is doing a lot of great work in the world, and I think we're aligned in our mission there. So thank you, Carl, for having us.
Okay, brother. Talk to you soon.
Take care.
And that's it for today. Please share the show. You never know who you're going to help or whose life you could possibly save. And that's it for today. I don't have a show Monday, but I will be in here. But we have a great group of shows next week starting on Tuesday, so don't miss them. And remember, muscle is metabolic currency, so get into the gym and make a deposit today. I'll be making my second deposit after the show today. All right. See you soon.